Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Rangers Review Morning Briefing. It is Friday, the 4th of April. I'm Derek Clark. I'm joined this morning by Joshua Barry. How goes it, Joshua?
It goes fine, mate. What about you? Looks nice again down. It's great weather up here. Looks nice down there.
Yeah, we've been spoiled rotten with the
Yeah.
sunshine. So make the most of it while it's here, I think, is what the saying goes. My missus doesn't like this time of year. She's a bit weird. She is craving...
Doesn't like the sun.
Nah, she craves winter, the cold and dreariness
Wow.
time of the year, which is bonkers, but there you go. Can't please them all, as the saying goes. But let us know in the comments, folks. Are you a fan of spring? What was your favourite season, Joshua, of the calendar year, would you say?
Ooh,
If you had to rank them in order?
This isn't the first topic I thought we'd cover today. I would say, you got to say summer, but then this probably is summer, isn't it? So we've got to enjoy it for while it's here. I don't mind winter, but I would rather a week like we've had than one full of rain. How's that? Fair enough?
Yeah, I do like spring. I've got to admit, I'm a fan of spring. That's high up in the list. Winter wouldn't be my top season of the year, but do let us know in the comments, folks, if you're a winter fan or if you prefer your more summery seasons. But there you go. Right, before we get cracking on into the Rangers news, just a quick word for our podcast sponsors, S1 Jobs. If it's time to hand in your transfer request, then head over to S1 Jobs and upload your CV today. With thousands of jobs across Glasgow, Edinburgh, and the surrounding areas, you'll find the one at S1 Jobs. And remember, folks, just a reminder as well, if you want to be in with a chance of winning that fantastic Paul Gascoigne signed and framed Rangers jersey from the wonderful 96-97 season, then you have to be a subscriber to the website. Head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe to sign up. Only £1 for 6 months. So that alone, to be entered into the draw for this jersey, is value enough. You have to be in and a subscriber by Sunday, the 6th of April, to be in with a chance of winning this. So make sure you are existing subscribers automatically entered into the draw as well. That is going to look stunning, and whoever's house it appears, whoever wins that, I'll be mega jealous. And unfortunately, we can't enter, Joshua.
No, we can't. Johnny's already pushed that particular boat, but yeah, it's great. It is a great prize. Obviously, all subscribers automatically entered. I've seen the shirt, and it is very impressive. So, what did you say? Sunday, Derek? I thought it was Friday. So you've got your finger on the pulse more than
6th of April, I think. I may be mistaken on that front. But
no, that makes sense.
Yeah, make sure you're subscribed, folk, to be in with a chance of winning that top prize. This comment, I just noticed at the corner of my eye from Jim Anderson. He says, looking forward to Johnny's 10 a.m. email. Yes, his newly released newsletter. He released it last week. And his hot takes will be in your email inbox, folks, at 10 a.m. this morning. I just seen his tweets yesterday in the newsletter. Some of the bullet points, he says, seeing Rangers' character up close, baffling Butland must sort out the wobbles, and why Chris Boyd's hot take is worth exploring. So I wonder who he's talking about then. Yeah, very much looking forward to that. Make sure, I'll pop the link in the comments, folks. You need to make sure you're signed up to get Johnny's newsletter, which is, I'm sure, is going to be very interesting indeed. It's game day tomorrow, Joshua, of course. Rangers back in action against a really in-form Hibs team. I think they lost to Celtic recently, but that aside, that the last defeat, I think, came back in November time. They've beaten Celtic at Easter Road. They are third in the table and flying. This will not be an easy game, I feel.
No, is it 15 unbeaten you just said? I think that is, I was reading that the record of 17 unbeaten domestically was like back in the 1940s or something. So they really have turned things around. And actually, if you go back to the 1-0 game, Rangers and Hibs, when was that? Back in September, Tom Lawrence scored a great goal. But aside from that, it was just one of these 1-0 games. Rangers had a lot this season that did not feature much encouragement, shall we say. The 3-3 game was, could have kind of gone either way in the end. Rangers obviously hit the post in the last minute through Iggerman. I think Hibs will feel a little bit like they're due a result against Rangers. And the big thing is, Derek, set pieces. They've been a real threat all season. The most dangerous team from set pieces, I think, statistically in the league. This is the game that Rangers have struggled with, even under Barry Ferguson. I think if you go back to that Motherwell game at home, it was definitely the worst performance of his tenure so far. So I know we'll get on to speak about what Neil McCann was saying in the press yesterday. Do Rangers stick with the back five and try and match Hibs up? How do they dominate with the ball? And how do they compete at set pieces? Because while they've scored a few from set pieces, they've actually conceded, I think, 3 as well since Barry Ferguson came to the club. But away against Fenerbahce, and then the opening goal against Dundee, which was a bit of a freak set piece goal, but nonetheless, it was still a corner conceded. So yeah, it's going to be a difficult one for them, I think. Obviously, before the big Athletic Bilbao game the following Thursday.
Yeah, I would like Rangers not to go 2 goals down for a change. That would be nice, and to take the lead and make it as comfortable as possible. But I feel it's going to be a real tough one against this side under David Gray. Fair play to their board, incidentally, for backing him when it looked like he was heading towards the exit door. They were struggling at the bottom end of the table. They gave him the dreaded vote of confidence, and he's getting a tune out of this Hibs team. So there's maybe a lesson to many clubs who pull the trigger far too soon. But he's got a tune out of this team, and I'm sure there will be a tough side to crack. But Rangers, you'd imagine, should have enough about them. It will be interesting to see what the team will be tomorrow. Neil McCann, as you touched on, was up for the press yesterday. Spoke very well. A mammoth press conference, over 20 minutes. So pray for Chris and transcribing that one. But yeah, he said some. Love listening to Neil McCann. He always says things that is worthy of listening to. We're going to play a clip shortly. But he did say on Václav Černý, Joshua, that they're pushing him hard and they hope that he's going to play a part tomorrow. But Bailey Rice is another one they'll make an assessment on this morning. Picked up a knock in that win over Dundee at the weekend. Said to Chris on the press conference reaction video yesterday, if Václav Černý is feeling anything or if there is any doubt about him, there is no point risking him tomorrow, surely.
Agree. I guess the counter argument would be that if Rangers are going to play anyone off the right, they're really limited. If Černý can't play, we've not seen Ross McCausland in ages, have we? I can't even remember the last time he played. Yanis Adji came on in that position at the weekend. I don't think he's really a right winger. He can do a job out there. Obviously, he's got that 2-footed benefit. Oscar Cortez didn't come off the bench. So the reason that it's so vital to get Černý back fit, I agree with you, for those European games is because aside from him, Rangers' 1v1 threat is really limited. I'd like to see Cortez get some minutes before now and the end of the season. He impressed by all accounts in the behind closed door game against Crystal Palace, which was that 3 weeks ago, Derek? Maybe even 4 weeks ago. It was before the international break. It hasn't had a look in since. Makes sense to build him up slowly. But I overall agree with you. I think with Černý, you need to prioritise that home game against the Athletic Club. And the fact that even last week when he returned from the international break with that slight hamstring strain, he had a scan on it, but the fact that he was still in the conversation about making the Dundee game shows it's not a serious injury, but with a hamstring, I don't think he can take chances. So I'd be the same as you. Rest him for this Hibs game. Make sure he's ready for this double header. And equally Aberdeen away, isn't it? Sandwiched in between those two Bilbao games, which I'm sure Barry Ferguson will be right up to win that game, and rightly so. But again, I'd be almost keeping Černý fresh just for those two European games.
Yeah, I'd be playing a French team at Pataudry. I'm actually, I don't know if Rangers, I don't know if Rangers asked maybe to get it postponed. I know the SPFL are bringing in a rule where clubs that are looking to qualify for the group stage can postpone their match prior to the playoff game. They could have brought that rule in to help Rangers in recent seasons, given that they seem to be the only club that get to the latter stages of European competition. But I think, I don't know if the SPFL would have accommodated that request, but I would like to see that game have been moved to a later date. But there you go, get the stage of the season. We're at fixture congestion and the likes, but It's not very often you get Scottish teams in the quarterfinals of European competition. Spoke to Johnny and, well, in fact, Chris it was yesterday, Joshua, about talking about Czerny there. Let's be honest, he's Rangers' best player. I'd be ratting him in cotton wool and not risking him tomorrow. Yeah. Two players who are missing on Thursday. Just sort of fast forward a little bit. John Suter and Mohamed Diamandi. We touched on it a little bit, I'm sure, earlier on in the week. Suter was the other player. I knew there was another player that was suspended, and someone, I think it was John, who had messaged in yesterday, said it was John Suter who's missing. Who replaces him, do you reckon?
For the home game against Bilbao, probably Robin Proper. Would like it to be Clinton and Ciala. Saying that would be a big game to throw him in for, but I don't know. I just kind of feel like, is there a big difference in quality? Okay, experience, yes. Proper has played a lot of these games, and he's actually played quite well in Europe. So I'm confusing myself as I make this argument, but I think you need to put probably Balogun as presuming Rangers play a back three.
Yeah,
Balogun as a central defender. One thing about Bilbao, and we'll have a piece on them on the website next week. Watched a bit of them, pretty cross heavy. We know that they attack with a lot through the wide areas, the Williams brothers, but they also have one of the highest crossing kind of frequencies in the whole of the Europa League. And we saw against Fenerbahce in the previous round, they were pretty similar, and Leon Balogun coming back into that game made a big help. So Balogun, you'd imagine, is in there, one of Tavernier and Dujon Sterling. Maybe it's most likely it's Robin Proper, but is Ciala better in the air than Proper? I'm not sure, and he gives you that left foot as well. But if you look at even who was on the bench up at Dens Park, it was Proper over Ciala, wasn't it? And then in the midfield, we discussed it earlier in the week. Do you put Bailey Rice in? Wouldn't be opposed to that, but probably, again, going on what Ferguson has opted for so far, you think it'll be experience and maybe Tom Lawrence.
I think it'll be Lawrence, I think it'll be.
Or
but somebody mentioned by Rami yesterday, and sort of completely forgot about him as an option.
Yeah, and he was kind of a bit of a, not go-to man, but he was trusted for those big games back towards the tail end of 2024, especially Old Firm games. Played against Tottenham, I think, in that number 10 position. Played away in Nice as well, didn't he? So I wouldn't be opposed to that. I think Barami gives you a little bit more in terms of legs in the middle of the park. One thing we know is it'll probably definitely be Dessers and Czerny. I'd like this weekend to maybe see a little bit more rotation. I know Chris wrote about Danilo on the website earlier in the week. He's one potential for tomorrow. Came off the bench to pretty good effect away at Dens Park too, but you know for those European games that based on what we've seen so far, it's most likely going to be Dessers as the team's number 9.
Yep, lots of comments coming in off the back of that. Buckshot says Sterling, Balogun, Proper would be his back three next Thursday. Interesting stuff. This goes without saying. Colin Clark says, seen clips of Nico Williams. We need to watch him. Yeah, absolutely need to watch him. He can cause a bit of damage, that's for sure, that lad. He's a very, very good player indeed. Like you say, Josh, they've got the two Williams brothers in that team on both flanks. So they are going to have to be watched. And the point here as well, Buckshot says, the big question is who plays left back. Both Redvan and Jefty have been poor for weeks. In terms of tomorrow, Redvan had a nightmare at Dens Park, Joshua, and Jefty, as the comments rightly says here, has been poor. Is that an area of concern, do you reckon?
I think, and let's see if the comments agree with me, I think Jefty's final ball has been better than Redvan's, even coming off the bench. I thought Redvan's final ball at Dens was really, really poor. I don't think he was helped by the start and the starting shape. And I know Neil McCann was speaking about this. The Rangers kind of went from one extreme to the other, didn't they? Because they had a back five with fullbacks at wing back, 3 centre halves, 3 central midfielders. Diamandi pushed up into that number 10 slot, and then Dessers and Nigaman. So I didn't think it was a team. I think if you're playing a back five like that, you maybe need more of an attacking option on one of the wing back positions. Too easy, I thought, for Dundee to press Redvan and Tavernier. It was Tavernier at wing back, wasn't it? Because Sterling was at right centre back. And then the second half, you go to the complete other extreme. And I know you're chasing the game. And then listen, in the end, it worked. Although, Dundee hit the post at 3-3, so there was still a lot of chances going the other way. But he goes to the complete other extreme with a back four and Bailey Rice covering that space at number 6, and that's probably not his strongest part of his game is covering all that space off the ball. So the point I'm getting around to making is I don't know if is Ridvan a wing back? Is Jeffy maybe better in that position because he's more of a ball carrier? I think the thing with Ridvan is he can have really good games and pretty poor games in the same month, week, and that is not exclusive to him by any stretch of the imagination. I just think if you're going for a back five tomorrow, do you want two fullbacks at wing back? I don't know if that gives you enough attacking balance, Derek. So I don't mind the fact that they're trying to chop and change and at least makes Rangers a bit more unpredictable. I mean, how many times this season has the kind of monotonous nature of that 4-2-3-1 which just stayed the same under Philippe Clement? I don't think that helped them whatsoever. But I don't know how you see it. I think if you are playing that back five, especially in games where you're going to dominate the ball, probably need a few more attacking profiles in there than they started with at the weekend.
I don't think I'd play a back five tomorrow, incidentally, but certainly against Bilbao, the two games, yes.
I think they might. I think they might go back five tomorrow and just match Hibs up. Well, I don't know. Do you know if Nicky Cadden's back? I think he's got a hamstring injury for Hibs. I think someone can tell us in the comments. Look at us doing our research before the show. But
Johnny will be sure he knows about Nicky Cadden.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he has a hamstring injury, and if so, that's a positive for Rangers because he's been when I've watched Hibs this season and over the course, I think he's probably been their most impressive player with those deliveries from the left-hand side. Part of me just thinks they might match them up in the back five, especially because, as I mentioned, set pieces, you probably need a few more attacking profiles in there to try and increase the size of the team. And granted, Rangers do look like a bigger team when they play that back three, when they've got Balogun in there and Suter and Dessers. So maybe that unpredictability of is it a back four or is it a back five helps. But equally, I thought that first half Rangers, they looked like a team who were trying to dominate the ball with fullbacks at wing back and three centre halves and three kind of central midfielders. Only real, I would say, two attacking profiles in the starting 11.
Yeah, they do lack players, attacking players with pace, Rangers. Jim with the point says, Nico Williams up against Tav gives me the fear. I don't think Tav will play right back against Bilbao, Josh. I think that'll be a sterling job, do you reckon?
Yes, I think that will be. And if you look at how he performed against St. Maximum, he's obviously been in the team quite consistently, played the whole 90 minutes, moved to centre half up at Dens Park last weekend. So wouldn't have... I think Nico Williams will give the best defenders, and you saw this in the Euros last summer, he'll give the best defenders a difficult day, but if you're putting anyone in the Rangers team up against him, you don't want to put Dujon Sterling up against them. And if you play that back five against Athletic, it gives you the ability to, again, match them up kind of wing back to winger, hopefully give you a bit more cover. And going the other way, I think, again, we'll cover this in the piece, I think there is the fact that they're so attack focused through the wingers means that you can sometimes get them the other way. We saw this against Benfica last season where their wingers at times are guilty of not supporting their fullbacks. They do concede quite similar goals, Athletic Bilbao, but they're fourth in La Liga, so they're quite good at football. And anything that Rangers, any weakness that Rangers find in their game, I think is lessened by the number of strengths they've got to try and stop throughout the 290 minutes.
Yeah, it's going. As Josie said after getting beat by Rangers at Ibrox recently, it'll be a phenomenal result if Rangers can get the better of this team. It really would be. But it's games to very much look forward to. I cannot wait for it. But as we touched on Hibs before that, as I said earlier, Neil McCann was speaking. Very lengthy press conference. Interestingly, he was asked about numerous things. One of the points was about Barry returning to the club and whether he's seen a different side to him. I liked what he had to say. This is Neil McCann yesterday.
For a long time now, he's trying to bring the character that he had as a player, the demand as he had as a player. Dodds is the same, Griggs is the same, Isam's existing for us coming in. But on the whole, the four guys that have come in here, we all probably share that probably real fighting Scottish spirit. that I think is good, because the group got it right away. They understood the message in the first training session was very, very clear what we expected. It's never been let go. It's relentless in terms of what we expect from them, work rate, intensity in training. I think that's maybe something that they've had to adjust to, because we found that in the first week or two we were driving them really, really hard, and it was taking a lot out of them. But we felt that we had to hit levels that we expected them to see in order to then face your opposition. So yeah, Fergie's not changed in any way. Still moaning, but I think we're all like a wee moan. But it's done in a manner that, as a staff, we work very, very hard in terms of coming up with the right plan. And sometimes it doesn't always work. But what we're good at is having a second and third option, and the players are able to adapt to that, which is great. We don't leave anything. We've got this place here, and we show them everything, possibilities. But like every football team, as soon as they cross the line, they make a split-second decision. Sometimes it's wrong, sometimes it's right.
So there is Neil McCann. Spoke very well yesterday, Joshua, and as Alan says, straight talking at the pressers, we could get used to this. I'm enjoying the press conferences again, and I'm not alone in saying that. It is straight talking. Guys, as Neil said there, I mean, this is their dream job. Billy Dodds, Barry Ferguson, Alan McGregor, and Neil McCann as well. And yeah, what did you make of the press conference yesterday? Very full, and his answers very detailed. Neil McCann's answers, many saying that he's at the brains behind the operation. He has had managerial experience before, of course, at Dundee and Inverness. Always a joy to hear him when he's doing the punditry as well. But what did you make of his performance behind the mic yesterday?
He's definitely the of every bench member, he's the most active in Barry Ferguson's kind of year in terms of passing on information. I think Sam Shirai, I know you covered this in one of your podcasts. I think if you look at the tactical plan Rangers came up against Fenerbahce, I think he had a big say in that too. But yeah, the pressers have been better. They're always better, I think, when a manager gets sacked and someone new comes in, because you hear from managers so often. And I remember when Clement came to the club, the first 3-4 months, he was very straight talking, I think he made a lot of sense. Towards the end of his time, his voice didn't carry the same authority, I think is the best way to discuss it. But yeah, McCann and Ferguson have spoke well. I think in particular Ferguson has played his press meetings pretty effectively and got his message across. And yesterday was packed full of information. A lot of he's always good to listen to Neil McCann, I think, as well, when he's on our side of the fence and doing punditry stuff or speaking about the game and not in the dugout. But lots of interesting detail as well about some of the things we've referenced, why they change in shape so often. Do they want to keep doing that? Do they have different plans? And to be fair to them, to I think give the coaching staff credit, it is refreshing to see them change things quite dramatically. Now you can argue, is there an overall plan? Will that translate to really dominating with the ball? But I think it does give teams a different problem when you come out in that second half at Dens Park and Rangers have a totally different kind of starting 11, if you will, in terms of shape. They go and concede right after that and it's 3-1. But you have to say, I think that the changes helped them get back into it too. So I've enjoyed listening to them. I know you have, because you've
proper Rangers men. They've bridged that disconnect, which is good. That's part of why they've been brought into the club to begin with. He was asked as well, Neil, about his own position, how long he would like to stay at the club. He says every footballer will probably tell you, well, not every footballer, because a lot of people actually don't want to have a go at this. I love it. There's nothing better than being on a touchline, on a training ground, preparing for a game. There's nothing better. I love my time at Dundee. I love my time at Inverness. It's taken a different avenue afterwards. I haven't looked any further forward. You can't, because a contract is a contract. We're in here to do a job. and as I've said, we're working very hard at it. So yeah, I'm sure he would absolutely bite your hand off if given an opportunity to stay at Rangers next season. Just on Neil doing the presser yesterday, Darren with the point says, wouldn't mind hearing from Dodds as well. Both he and I would love to hear from Alan McGregor as well. Hopefully he's on the rota to do it next week, Joshua, because that will be box office.
I'd be surprised. What was the press conference he did before? Was it before a game against? It was a Europa League game towards the end of his career.
I think.
He did one more. I think he did one against Slavia Prague before Slavia Prague or something. But there was interaction with a journalist, I think, from the Czech Republic, who was trying to get some information out of Al McGregor and hadn't maybe encountered his type of press conference before. So yeah, I would be surprised if we hear from him, but not opposed to it. I'll put that.
Yeah. I wouldn't hold out much hope of hearing from Alan McGregor, but there you go. Benny says, McCann saying he loves being on touchline is a come and get me message. Yeah, like I said, he would absolutely love being a part. Said it himself, he's proud to be part of Rangers, both as a player and now as a coach as well. There has been a bit of a clamour for years, I think, for having McCann part of a coaching setup at Rangers, and he's relishing it at this moment in time. So tomorrow, Joshua, in terms of the team, there was a comment actually earlier on from Mark. He says they would change the keeper. I would be amazed if there was a goalkeeper change, albeit we touched on this earlier on in the week. Until I think Rangers get put out of Europe, I think Jack Butland remains in goals.
Yeah, Stevie's actually written about this for his column, which will be out on the website soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. We touched on it earlier in the week about Butland's numbers, and so we won't repeat that again. I'd be very surprised. I think clearly domestically in the last few weeks, kind of throughout the course of the season, there has been there's been errors. You know who the better goalkeeper is. Definitely, I think in Rangers kind of squad options over the course of the campaign. I would be very, very surprised if Barry Ferguson was to take Jack Butland out, even after if and when Rangers don't make it any further in Europe. But he does need I think, period of consistency domestically, because that Motherwell mistake and that Dundee mistake are obviously quite fresh in the memory. So I don't know if you're going to tell me you would change the goalkeeper, but I wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't. But we can't have another clanger tomorrow. I'll tell you that right now. We can't have that heading into this double header with Bilbao. So I just want Jack Butland to have a good game, maybe produce one or two top saves to help the confidence, and that's that. So I can get why some would like Liam Kelly being given another opportunity. I've said it before, though. I think Rangers need a new goalie in the summer. But at this point, Jack Butland keeps the gloves for me. Other than that, up front, we touched on Danilo. I think tomorrow would present a decent opportunity for him to get game time. Elsewhere, we touched on Czerny. You'd like to see Cortez, Rice, if he passes a fitness test.
Yeah.
I don't think there'll be too many changes apart from that, Joshua.
I don't think Cortez will start. I would like to see, again, discussed this earlier in the week, Egerman is the highest striker and Danilo kind of playing that in-between role. I think that's when Rangers have played their best domestic football, and that's not a slight on Dessers. He makes a lot of runs in behind, and I think that's particularly important at the moment, because if you look, just as we were discussing the wide options, who else really makes runs in behind for this Rangers team? They've not got an Abdallah Sima like last season, or someone to really stretch play. So in terms of someone getting on the last line and pushing the defence the other way, I do think Dessers has an important role. I don't know. I'd like to see Danilo and Egerman again. Danilo's fit.
So would I. Yeah,
rotate it a little bit. Especially if Rangers go for a back five, I would prefer to see it being, Danilo, Egerman and another attacking profile, maybe with a Raskin and Diomande behind them, as opposed to Baron, Raskin, Diomande and kind of two forwards ahead of them. So that would be my preference, but I wouldn't be surprised at all to see kind of Cyril Dessers at number 9, because has he not started every game, I think, of Ferguson's tenure to date?
Yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong.
It's a good question.
I think he has. Yeah, let's say yes and wait until we're told otherwise. But
you can let us know in the comments, folks, if that is indeed the case. But Yep. Yeah, we'll wrap up there for now anyway. A big thank you to Joshua and to you all for tuning into the show. It's very much appreciated. Our predicted teams will be out on the website a little later on, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And yeah, then we'll have all the usual coverage for you tomorrow from Ibrox if you're not heading along to the game. So yeah, we'll keep you abreast of everything that's going on down Govan Way. Right. Enjoy your Friday, folks. Of course, press conference day was yesterday. The embargoed section was a player interview, so you'll hear from John Suter at 12 noon, so you can hear what he had to say yesterday. That will be on the YouTube channel, and if you prefer to read your press conference roundup, then you can read everything he had to say over on the website as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Right, enjoy your Friday, and we'll speak to you later. Bye for now.